Hello again, everybody. Welcome to week 2, integrated marketing. First thing, this picture here is a background picture of a beach at Okinawa, Japan. Back when I was in the Army, spent some time over there. So there's a little picture of Okinawa. Um, okay, this week here, real quick. Last week, first week, those of you that are into class here, doing real well. Some of you might be in two different classes with me, and like I say, you guys are doing good. No issues there. Good talk on the discussion and the homework, so no problems. Let me see. So I'm going to jump up here to week 2. Week 2 here, you got a discussion on uh, reasons for certain industries doing larger portions of sales for advertising than other industries. Those who've been in some other classes with me, you may remember me mentioning things about people. Most businesses look at percentages versus dollars sometimes. Um, and I got an example here from back when I had some pizza stores here. But depending on whether you have one store, you have 3 or units or whatever you want to call them, businesses. One of the things that is advertising. So like this right here, this example here, with Domino's, as a franchise, you're required to give 3% of your sales um, to national advertising, and then like 2% of your sales went to what they call local, well, what they call co-op advertising, where um, in a geographic region, like okay, I'm in St. Louis, so everybody within the TV broadcast radius, excuse me, will contribute to a fund, that pays for the advertising that the co-op puts out. Then also you got national advertising. That's where that national, that 3. So most companies do similar things like this, and so what it is, it's not a fixed dollar amount. So you can see different things here, like you got different dollar amounts from store to store, and that's based on their sales. However, there might be situations where there might be a reason uh, you might do something different. Like right here, you got local store advertising, 1.8%, but this one's 5.95. So there's a reason, like this store paid almost $1,300 during, where this store paid, 345. So maybe there's a reason for that. So, and that's what the discussion question is about, like what would be explanations or reasons for that. So anyway, just there, the little example. And then we also got the assignment. And so here your assignment is, identify magazine advertisements uh, that have at least 3 of the 8 vowel groups. Okay, and you're going to have to look up to see what the vowel is if you haven't looked already. But just go through the whole thing here. It doesn't have to be long. If you want to, usually in the past courses, students will insert a picture of, like a particular ad they found, and just list what it is. So that's basically what you need to do there. Um, this week you got chapter 5, 6, and 8. So chapter 5 on the presentations. Segmenting, targeting, and positioning. So again, like I always say, you got to spend a little time to learn the definitions, the concepts, how this all interacts together. And so, that's pretty much, you got segmentation, you got targeting, you got positioning, and a lot of other things that are, taken into consideration. Like here, this example, you got behavior, psychology, and demographics. So depending on targeting, back like I said, when I had the pizza stores, you get your junk mail in the mail. You get like every week or every 2 weeks. It would be based on income in the areas, the pay dates. You'd have these nice little graphs that went up and down and everything. That you do most of your mail marketing around pay dates, so first or middle of the month or on a bi-weekly pay schedule, things like that. Also, neighborhoods, depending on the income or the demographics or the type of advertising you send to different areas, or the areas you wouldn't even spend the money because it wouldn't make an impact. When you're dealing with pizza people, for example, um, what you call the poor area, I mean low income, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of times you wouldn't even spend any money on the rich neighborhoods because they don't pay attention to coupons. It's just that simple. Those of us who have been financially struggling in our lives, we pay attention to coupons, but rich people usually don't. So those are different things you take in. That's where you got this type of stuff here to take into consideration. So, but anyway, so there's a little, there's just different things that you have to take into consideration. Whoops. Chapter 6 covers communication and process. So there again, how do you communicate with your customers? So you got some good examples in here again, how to go about that. And then chapter 8 is covering the objectives of setting a budgeting. And again, this example I had over here, my example, this is also a budget. I mean, this is an actual period of P&L, but it's also used as a budget. Some numbers are fixed, so like these percentages here are part of your budget. And when you figure that all out, when you get down to the bottom, you got to figure out, how much money are you making or not making. Are you making money? Like, see there, that store made money, but these two stores lost money. So that's where the budget comes in. You have to establish a budget so that you can figure out, exactly how much. And I'll show you an example here. This store lost $900. And up here, remember that in advertising, I showed you where it spent $1,200. For whatever the reason, it spent $1,200. So, there's different reasons you do things, but part of the budgeting is, you got to have a budget to, survive. So, okay. What else here? Let me see. Did we cover everything? I think we did. Presentations, discussion, assignment, on your quizzes. All right, so for the most part, that's it. I'll keep this short. We'll cut it off here because those of you that are in there, you're doing great. So just keep doing what you're doing. Remember, you guys spend time in there though, so you absorb the information. And then I showed you that picture at the front, walking out front. But this one here, just so this is the one you can mention so that or I know you watched the video. These are my kiddos back in 1988-ish back in Okinawa, Japan, on the beach there. So you mentioned that, and that way I know you watched the video. So with that, I will call it quits. You guys have a great week. If you need anything, get in touch with me, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye.